28th, 2020.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now, Heather, you want to go over the CARES Act and then let them know about the ambulance?
Sure. So, the select board on Monday night voted, to approve submitting documents, for the most part, as we talked about, the last week. Forward, we did make a couple of applications, a couple of folks were on the call on Monday night. We also added, in fact, $3,000 for.
I'm having a problem
Hey,
here.
you're breaking up, Heather.
I can't hear you.
I didn't get one word.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
That was better.
The world's telling me I'm all done Zoom meetings for.
I think it might be somebody else's.
No, it could be me. I only have 2 bars for some reason. Right. Can you hear me now?
Muffled.
That's
Very
better.
muffled.
No muffled?
Huh?
All right, let me try something. Okay, how about now?
That's better.
Can you hear me now?
Very good.
Yep.
Excellent.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right, am I good to keep going, Claire?
Yes.
Yep, yep.
Well, now I'm showing 5 bars, so we should. All right, CARES Act. So some of the members were able to meet with us on Monday, and on Monday with the select board, they voted to approve the submittal of the CARES Act funding that's due tomorrow. Once you enter all of the information into the form, it calculates what the total amount is that you're requesting. It takes off anything that it believes is a NEMA qualified expense, and makes it so that if something is put in for $100, it's best that you're only asking for $25 from CARES Act funding, thinking that we're going to get 75% reimbursed from NEMA. So you enter all your numbers in, it recalculates it, and our total number was, I think, around $110,000 that we were requesting for disbursement of the CARES Act funding out of our total $493 that's on the table. That request included an ambulance for $285,000, and when you take the $285 and you reduce it down, it's only counting the 25% of that cost because the category you're putting in it is NEMA reimbursable. I did submit an email date asking them if the cost of an ambulance was an allowable expense. They did get back to me yesterday and they said it was not at this time. I emailed the select board and it appears that the direction I'm getting from my board is that they'd like me to submit the application anyway as is because that's what they voted on. So I will be submitting that as is this evening, as that's what they voted.
Heather,
Yeah,
Heather, that deadline has been extended till next Friday.
oh, that's
So,
it.
yes, we sent out an email this afternoon, so
So you're suggesting I wait and I revisit it with the select board tomorrow at their Friday meeting?
yeah, maybe. I don't know. And maybe you'll get another answer from the state by next week. I don't know. For some reason, they're extending it.
Okay. Well, then what I'll do then is maybe I will revisit this with the select board meeting tomorrow, and I'll hold off on submitting till tomorrow night in case they reevaluate.
Good idea.
Okay. All right. So that's all I have for the CARES Act piece. Claire, do you have anything else on CARES Act?
No, that was the only thing, the ambulance thing. So then we go to the 1/12 budget.
Jean, would you mind giving an update where we are with that?
Hold on. Still working on it. I did talk to Deb Wagner to DOR yesterday for quite a while about it. And we had broken down the education, the Quabbin budget by month, and we shouldn't be doing that. We should be just putting it in the month that we pay it. So I've got to rearrange that. So, and we just give an explanation. We will be doing them on a monthly basis. First one is for July. And then if we have to go any further, we'll do one for August and whatever. That's pretty much it. She said the majority of her towns are holding town meetings on doing level funded. So they're trying to get in a level funded budget instead of going to the 112. So just as an FYI for you guys, that's what she was saying. So other than that, still working on it, still poking at it, trying to get it as great as it can be if it's going to be a 112.
So could somebody explain to me about a 112 budget? We go before the town meeting and we would propose on a 12th budget?
No.
No.
No, we have no town meeting. You do not want to have a town meeting to do 112 budget.
Okay.
Because
So-
then you have set a budget. So you cannot have a town meeting. 112th would just be approved by the director of the Bureau of Accounts, and we will run a 112th budget with their approval. Until we can have an annual town meeting and set our own budget. But no, we do not have a budget town meeting for a 112 budget.
Well, still, so we have to approve it at a town meeting?
No,
No.
it's approved by the director of the Bureau of Accounts.
Okay.
Approves it.
So what happens, Brian, is the 1/12 budget is in lieu of or the contingency plan if we can't hold a town meeting. So our town meeting right now is scheduled for June 30th. And I talked to the moderator and Ellen earlier, and we were talking about trying to, next time the select board meets, suggest that we look at doing a rain date of the 1st of July. And then if we have to go back beyond that, the moderator can continue. But the idea is that we have our town meeting scheduled for June 30th. If for some reason we can't hold one, the pandemic has another wave, something happened, who knows what.
Right.
Then the idea of having the 1/12 budget in place is it allows us to function. If a town generally does not have an approved budget, they're unable to operate. So for instance, I've been in a town where once at a town meeting, they skipped over the article to approve the water enterprise fund. They only reconsidered it once it was explained to them that if they pass that article, skip that article, then no one will be having water services on July 1st because it doesn't exist. 1/12 allows you to go beyond that. I was on a seminar yesterday with the town, what is it, the Selectmen's Association and the Street Association. They were talking about that a 1/12 budget they like to refer to, not a 1/12. Because essentially, as Dean explained, they want to know what your general operating expenses are going to be for July. And it's okay if it's not 1/12 of your normal expenses. They just want to know what that number is, and they'll approve that you can operate based on the number. If the number goes well above 1/12 of your budget, you have to explain why. As she said, we have the school budget that's due, the school funds or whatever. On the 1/12 budget, they did clarify that we can, Jean got clarification from the state that we can use our level funded Quabbin Regional assessment. So what they gave us last year for their assessment, we can put that in our 1/12. We have that there, and that's okay. We break that number down, we're good to go. So the 1/12 is the contingency for when Dean's talking about the director of the Bureau of Accounts, she's talking about the person who's in charge of Division of Local Services. Before 1/12 budget gets there, it has to be approved by the Board of Selectmen, and Ellen has to sign as the town clerk a certification that a vote was held on that date, and it approved the budget in that amount. And then Jean updates everything in The same process has to happen for both the water and the sewer department. So both of those commissions have to meet, they have to approve the 112, and they have to get it in. So let's be devil's advocate for it. The event that we get to July 1st and we haven't had a town meeting because there's a tornado, or a second wave of the pandemic, or heck, maybe we don't have a quorum. And we're on July 1st and the town has a general 112 budget approved, we're operating, we're ready to go. If the water and sewer don't have them, then they won't be able to function. Literally will not be able to function starting July 1st. So that's why it's very important for each of them to be reviewed. The only one I have direct control over, or assistance with control over, is the general fund budget with the board of selectmen. The other two is up to water and sewer commission to meet and to approve.
Right. So can we look at this as an interim budget until we have a town meeting?
Yes, it essentially is. So if we went to July 1st and we hadn't had a town meeting yet, we had an approved 112, we could go through the month of July. As we approached August, Dean would have to make another revision of the budget for the next fiscal, or the next calendar month of August. It would get approved, we would operate through August. If we can't hold a town meeting in August, Dean enters, more information, we get the next 112th month approved of July, September.
Okay,
So
I got it.
worst case scenario, we can function.
Thank you.
Do you want to go into the, you mentioned that where we're at the annual town meeting,
Sure.
the latest, I saw Joshua posted some stuff on that resident forum site this afternoon.
So that's the forum site that I don't have access to. So
You don't?
no, I looked at it. It said you had to be approved to get in. So, but anyway, so Joshua and myself and Ellen had the opportunity to meet on a phone call earlier today. I was able to have a phone call with the woman at Quabbin Regional School District. Her name is also Claire. No lie. So I need to chat with Ellen about her availability next week, and her and I, if she's available, we'll try to go with Claire and do kind of a walkthrough, because Claire has concerns about the outdoor venue there. We're facing the right direction with lots of sun. Anyway, so we're looking at that as the proposal. Ellen, did you want to talk about any specifics we had chatted about earlier, just so the FinCom has an idea of what we're proposing?
Please. Can everybody hear me?
No.
No?
Well, I can now. Go ahead.
If you're saying no, you can hear me.
That's right. That's true.
Come on, Mark. So basically what we're looking at doing is we're thinking of setting it up as though like the graduation ceremonies that they hold, kind of. We would set up a little stage, and then we would set up the seating, and the seating would all be set up 6 feet apart. And then what we would do is have the vehicles, when they come in, they would be coming into the horseshoe at Quabbin Regional, in front of the main building there. So as they drive in, we would be checking them in with the poll pad. So basically, it's the tablet that we've been using to check in voters electronically. And then we would have someone else handing them basically a town meeting kit package, basically, which we're thinking of maybe a bag that includes a paddle for voting, which one side would be green, one side would be red maybe, or maybe it's a yes and a no paddle. I'm gonna check with some other towns to see that use them, if we can borrow them. And then that's how we'd be able to vote, using the paddles, yes or no. So everybody would have a little kit. So we would have the paddle, we would have the instructions for a secret ballot vote in the event there is one, as we always do, with the paper ballot stapled to that. And Heather mentioned that we would be required to have hand sanitizer and bug spray or a bug type of thing because it's outside. So I believe they sell, if we can get our hands on them, little packets, maybe little alcohol wipes or something that we could use as to put in the bag, and a little bug wipe that we can put in the bag, and just have everything that we need to what is safe and protected for an outside meeting. And then as far as people parking, would be parking around the loop. We can get 2 rows of cars around the loop from what I'm told, and then still have like a 3rd lane available for emergency or fire lane. And then hopefully, we'll have the seating set up. Joshua will have the microphone, and he's designated somebody with a portable microphone to go around, but he has questions. And basically what they would do is they would listen to the question, and then the person that Joshua designates would repeat that question through the mic. So nobody is touching a microphone other than the person that Joshua designates. So all these things that we have to keep in mind with COVID to keep everybody safe. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And also we're looking into doing a consent agenda, or this would allow us to group all of the articles together. So were explained to me earlier in the day is it would be similar to him going through and reading the warrant. So everybody else would get the finance committee booklet would also be put in that town meeting kit. So they would have the thing would be included in their bag. So everybody has a copy of the warrant. And then Joshua would go through and he would read everything on the warrant, and then he would call for if does anybody have any questions or want to put a hold on Article number 1. If there's no hold, he goes Article 2. He goes through the whole thing. If nobody wants to put a hold on it, then we make one motion to see if the town will vote to accept Articles 1 through 6, and maybe somebody wants to hold 7 because they have questions. So we skip over 7, and we add on 8 through 10, and then maybe somebody has a question on Article 11. So then after that, we make our final vote, and then we go to just the articles that people want to discuss and have questions on, and we vote and we discuss on those separately. So that's kind of the way that we're looking at trying to move forward. We're also thinking of pushing up the time of the town meeting rather than hold it at 6:30. We feel that we should start the meeting right at 6 o'clock and maybe have people and encourage people that are attending to start coming around 5 o'clock so that we can get them all checked in and everybody situated so that we can start promptly right at 6 o'clock. And hopefully we'll have a quorum. And as Heather mentioned, if there's bad weather, we would then postpone it to the next day. And Joshua would have the authority to continue it if need be from there. So that's what.
I'm sorry, but what date is this on now?
June 30th.
Okay.
And
So,
if we can hold the meeting on June 30th, then we've accepted our budget. So then you wouldn't have the 112 budget. But anything, because we're level funding everything, we could always go back in the fall and have a special town meeting to deal with all the other issues if there's money available.
Ellen, what is the quorum number going to be? Do you know?
Right now, our quorum is 50.
But
And
didn't the state say something different?
right now, our quorum is 50. If the moderator can adjourn from town to town with less than 50, but as of right now, it's 50. We have not, and as far as I know, the quorum has not changed.
Yeah, so Claire, I think what you're asking about is the pending legislation. As of earlier today, there was no action taken on it yet because there was a part of the legislation that was out there was the possibility of allowing communities to reduce the quorum by a
Yeah.
percent. But I haven't seen a word on that. I could have gotten an email in the last hour. I have not seen it. But we'll keep everyone apprised. This is just our preliminary plan. We're hoping that between Ellen, me, and Joshua, we'll be able to work something a little more solidified by early next week, and then get some buy-in from our public safety officials and the board of selectmen, and then we'll disseminate it out and get buy-in with everyone. Make sure everyone knows what it is.
Yeah, I had read that where they were looking at reducing it. I hadn't heard if they had or not yet. Are there any questions from anybody? Or any thoughts? So we can go on to the next, the MEMA funds. Heather?
So we're trying, me, myself, and Rob are gonna try to meet someday next week to get the application going. So last Friday, MEMA actually disseminated the forms. They had originally said, if you recall, I kept sounding like a broken record, that they weren't gonna do partial payments or they weren't gonna allow you to submit partially. So I don't know what changed, but the forms are now out and now we can submit this week, trying to get that in.
Okay. Did all the members get their packet from Heather today?
Yep.
Yes.
And the revenue sheets? Maybe Jean can refresh? It hasn't really changed much, has it?
No, there really hasn't changed. The May distribution from the state is in, so we're still holding good on that. And we did receive about $16,000 for veteran reimbursement. And other than that, it's just all little stuff. So revenue sheets haven't really changed.
Yeah.
The only other piece of information that we know, we have at our employee meeting on Wednesday, Carol from the library did mention that the library calls, they're saying we expect less public aid, which we don't really count on our revenue sheets. But just keep it in mind because it's funds that the libraries generally rely on. If that reduces, they may be a little bit heavier, or their programs might reduce as a result. I don't know where that's going to go yet. They're also talking about, as Carol had said, that they're likely only going to do one disbursement. Provide one in the fall and one in the spring, and they were talking about just one in the spring. So I think we're going to start seeing further potential guesstimates of pullback on revenues, but we still don't know much more than we've speculated and read from other sources at this point.
Now, the FY20 expenses, how do we stand coming in for the end of this year?
Oh, that's a good question. I wasn't even thinking that. Jean, do you happen to recall what things are looking like? I think the last ones we ran were last week. We should have new ones next week.
This next one is tomorrow or Saturday. Warrant's being done tomorrow, so you'll have a report either tomorrow or Saturday morning.
Yeah.
The newest one.
And how does it look against the revenues coming in? Are we going to be okay, or we're short?
I don't know. We still got a lot of time left.
Yeah.
a lot of bills coming through right now too, so,
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to say at the beginning of June,
yeah,
July 15th, so,
We can try to have a better guess on that next week, Claire. We'll compare
yeah,
with our expenses and see where we're falling.
yeah. Now for our FY21 expenses. Heather and I have been talking, and on the school budget, some of the other towns, right, not in the regional district, right, other towns
Correct.
are level funding their school budget.
Yes, and I think, Claire, I think Jean mentioned at our meeting this morning. Jean, did I hear you right when you said you spoke with Deb Wagner from DLS, and she had said that, you know, a lot of towns are level funding their school budget?
Yep.
For their
Yep. They're just going in with the level fund from this year because there's nothing else to go on. So whatever we paid this year, it's what we're gonna pick in our budget.
So I don't know how the other members on the finance committee feel, but my feeling is that we should level fund the school till
Yep.
we know some definite numbers that are coming in. Because like Sheila said, they won't even know their numbers till August.
Yeah, that seems the way to go.
We don't really have a choice.
No.
That's the way it has to be.
So we don't know the numbers. We don't know what the state's gonna or anything.
Yep.
So could someone recommend that we recommend to the selectmen that the school budget be level funded?
You want to make a motion on that, Claire, or you just want to vote to
Yeah, I
recommend?
think
How
we
you-
should have a motion and vote on it because the way the selectmen are, we need to show our vote and take our stand on things. If everyone else feels that way, you know, that we should vote on it and say level fund it for FY21. So we have a number in our
No,
budget sheet.
Don't we have to go?
I don't see where that could hurt us.
What, Ted? I didn't,
I don't think that should hurt us at all to do that, you know?
no. Because if we have to do something later on, we'll have to do it, but get us through now until we have some definite numbers.
Don't we have to go through the whole budget on a department by department basis and approve each one of these?
Yes, we do that, Brian, but we usually, like with the school,
Yeah,
they don't have a budget.
right,
Sheila said she didn't have one.
right. I see what you're saying.
So that we've got to put a number in there for our budget and go from there.
I guess we'll make the recommendation then. I'll make a motion. Make a recommendation to the selectmen that they level fund the school expense.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
Second.
All
I'll
in
second.
favor?
Aye.
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 I have to abstain, Claire.
Yep, okay. At least that'll get a number in on our sheets too, so we know where we stand.
Yep.
Heather, do you want to go over this,
Yeah, I can
summary?
go over, let me go over the big view. Hang on one second. Jen's trying to get back
Okay,
in. Give me 1 second. So let me just back. All right. Yeah. So I just want to go over in general the bigger pieces here. I think we're going to have to wait up to be able to go over everything. I
Right.
think we'll clarifications on a few of the numbers, but I just want to make sure everyone knows the Heather coding that's here, so you understand how to read the sheet. So this is broken out by the accounting codes that we have in our finance. So if you look at this and you look at the SoftWrite reports that Jean provides every 2 weeks, it mirrors this. So they're compatible, so to speak. So what we did here is it's by every department. I have some color coding going on. So right now, these red boxes that you see in the center, this
Yeah.
I need to go back and double check my numbers, but I wanted to put something in for the moment. Scroll down. I worked with Jean very closely to try to clean a few things up. So for instance, down here you see yellow. So yellow means something changed. If you look here, and I'll do a better job. I'll do a summary sheet on this.
Yeah.
The assistant collector salary, it used to be in its own department, which doesn't mean, most communities have it all as one, and makes life a lot easier if it is in the same department. So you know at the end of the day how much parent you spend, as opposed to having to add two departments together on the summary sheet. So you'll see over here to the right, I put a code, I wrote moved from 146. So if you look over here, 146.
Yep.
In that line, and you're like, oh no, there's no money in it. You look over here, it says moved to 145.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
look in that notes column, it tells you where it went.
Okay.
You're wondering, oh my goodness, where did that go? So this red here means essentially that it went somewhere else. So
Okay.
I did the same thing for IT. We had, IT, which used to be data processing. So you see I have an FKA, formerly known as. And then regional IT, I moved into that piece so that we know our IT budget is $72,225 instead of having to look at this number and this number. It's a lot easier to find.
Yeah. Much better.
Same thing down elections. I just guessed on some numbers because I found Ellen's numbers in front of me this morning when I did this, so I'll update it now with her numbers. Ellen, I was going to try to combine elections and registrars into one department. Do you have any objections to that?
Aren't they already in one department?
No, but they will be if you're okay with it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So other things that we're toggling with ideas of, so you see in the center here, centralized purchasing. So one of the biggest things I'm trying to help with is large purchases or purchases that are regular that affect the entire town or most of the town that are currently split up in each of the departments. A lot of towns centralize that stuff. Gina and I talked about it, and the main person affected by a lot of this is Sandy. Sandy currently for postage has to look at the postage machine, figure out how much postage she wants to add on it, and essentially almost send an invoice to every individual department so that they can put forward that they would like to get postage amounts moved, and then all of those amounts have to be approved by me, and then the money has to be moved, and then we have to put in for the bill to pay the postage company. So the idea here is to start extracting some of this material and put it in one spot, so that instead of having, $250 in the selectmen's line for postage, all of it goes here. So Sandy can just do her thing, manage the postage machine throughout the year, make sure there's postage in it, and not have to spend an extra 10 hours a going through the postage.
Simplify.
That makes sense to me.
We're trying. Down here, ZBA, we had one line that wasn't open for. Down here, these things are moved. I just have to color code them. Let's see. That was fun. It's a little, what do you call it? Humid out here. My fingers are on. I'll use the mouse. That would be better. Okay. The other thing I'm trying to do, I haven't had space in yet. I want to combine some of the DPW accounts. We currently have 4 accounts. We really only need 2 different departments, rather. We have the DPW administration. Then we have town roads and highway. Then we have the town barn account. So Gina and I talked about it, combining those three, so you can actually look and say, hey, how's the DPW doing this year? Here's their total balance. How much do they have left? What percentage are they using? Instead of, again, having to look at 3 different departments and add them up on your own calculations. So there's that. Snow removal, same. Parks, the employee benefits. So I tried to combine a couple things here. So instead of having county retirement up here and health insurance down here, and having some items merged in with some of those other things where you don't actually know the numbers, I broke everything out. So it's easier to understand that we have county retirement, employee health insurance, retiree health insurance, which most towns keep separate, so you know how much you're actually paying for retiree health insurance, Medicare and unemployment insurance, and then general insurance. Gina and I haven't chatted about this yet because I played with it earlier, but I'd like to propose, breaking things out a little bit more so we actually know what we're paying for, and someone who picks this budget up actually knows what's in it. And then the only other thing I did down below is I moved around debt. So a lot of towns actually separate their included debt and non-included debt. So someone who looks at it can figure out pretty quickly that if it's excluded debt, it means that there was a town vote and a ballot vote, and that amount is over and above outside of the tax levy. Everything else is within. So non-excluded debt means we're paying it from the operating budget. Excluded debt means on the revenue sheet, you get credit for it up top in the levy section, and then it crosses itself out here. So it just makes it a more concise way to read it. So all these things are that you're seeing red and so forth is I was moving things so that they fit neatly in the excluded debt principle, non-excluded debt principle, same thing trust and non-excluded interest. So that's where we are. Not all the numbers are in yet. Like I said, I'm still moving on. I gotta check my email and see if the chief was able to get back to me with a breakdown of the police budget, so I got all the account numbers on it. And I have a couple other small things to figure out, but by next week we should have this pretty solidified with all the numbers input of our actual expenses. Okay. And I'll do my best. I'll try to do a summary sheet. So the ping pong game to figure out what moved. I'll try to summarize it up top so it's a lot easier. So, but that was my goal, trying to make it as concise as possible and combine things so it's easier to understand where stuff is here to come.
Thank you, Heather. It just makes more sense.
Well, I was going to go for less sense, but then, I think that I probably should try to work with and not oppose.
Okay, now it's Ellen's turn.
Okay. So, I pretty much level funded everything. Everything is the same as last year with the exception of the elections account. The elections account request is 49,210. And that is because we have an extra, we'll have the state election. So other than that, everything has been level funded.
Has anyone got any questions on this?
Looks super.
How about the money for this year's, like the town meeting? The extra expenses because of the COVID.
think we're gonna try to get that out of the CARES Act, and anything that we can put under, the COVID-19 we're doing.
Right.
Because, I mean, even like the early voting for the local election, that was
Yes.
a huge expense. I had, had to mail a mailing out to every single household. That was very costly. And the ballots to mail are, they're 65 cents a piece to mail each ballot. I'm hoping that we're going to have that CARES Act, those funds available for September and November. There's legislation pending right now. I don't know what's going to happen with the September and November elections. So it changed. I budgeted what I felt. It was really pretty much what its level did. I don't know what extra expenses I'm going to need going forward that won't be covered by COVID. So I didn't include anything extra at this point.
Right.
Hoping that we will have state aid or something going forward. In some of the legislation that is currently pending right now, it's looking like the Secretary of State's office may be mailing ballots to every single registered voter. And there's different that says that, one of them want to town clerk's office to mail out all of these ballots. If that's the case, my biggest concern is the support in my office. Since COVID-19, we've been out great. All of this extra mailing, all the extra emails, everything, all of these new regulations that we have to take the time to read, to figure out, everything that we once knew is now changed. And it's honestly been, overwhelming at times. And, it's myself and Mary Ann, and her time is divided. So it's been very difficult to try to keep up with everything, especially when we have these extra on our plate. We've been managing, but I don't know, our town election, I'm, we might get, even if we were to get 500 mail-in ballots, I think for the presidential, we could have more than that. And just at this time process, and like I said, I don't know if the Secretary of State's office picks that piece of it up, and they mail all the ballots, and the Massachusetts Town Clerks Association is fighting it with their lobbyists too to get all of our amendments in there to help streamline the process for the town clerks across the state. For instance, by putting barcodes, having them list the barcodes on so we can scan everything as it comes back, and also allowing us to run the ballots through as we receive them rather than waiting, because otherwise we just have to wait till election day. And even though we don't have that many people showing up on election day, we still have to process the same amount of ballots, even more, because we have a larger turnout. So, like with the town election, I think we'll definitely have a larger turnout because a lot of people will have been sending back the ballots by mail. So that's a good thing that we have more participation.
Sure.
It's great to see. I just think that it with both the September and the presidential primary, making sure that we're going to have the funding to cover the ballots being mailed, and making sure that we can handle it, because that's not all my office does is elections. We can't shut everything down just to do elections. We still have to be able to process the death certificates, the birth certificates, all our vital records, and be able to still function as a department. And early voting too. That's the other piece. I don't know what's going to happen with early voting. If they're going to there was some talk of them also requiring us to do in-person early voting. So I don't know if that passes, how that will change.
Does anyone have any questions for Ellen?
set.
Oh, fine.
Looks good, Ellen.
And I just want to thank the finance committee too for all your hard work in getting everything together. I know it's been very difficult for everybody doing these Zoom meetings and everything, but I think honestly, all of the town employees and all of the departments and boards and committees have really been trying really hard, and things have been tough for everybody. And I think everybody is been, at a little higher frustration level. So, but I thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
Ellen.
you, Ellen.
Thank you, Ellen.
Yeah.
Now we've got on here, review of other departments. Do any of you at this point want to discuss any of them, or?
So I've gone through most of the data there and made sure that the information was up to date. So anyone we reviewed prior, I went back and I took a look to make sure that the numbers for the salary and COLA were correct.
Yeah.
Take another look at everything and make sure one more time it checks out with all of our charts. And then I will send this out hopefully early next week to everybody. And I would just like everyone to pour through and make sure my formulas are right. I once got to a town meeting where I had 12 people do a document and I missed 2 errors. So it made people very upset, mostly because about 12 people had reviewed it and we still had errors. But if everyone can take a look and just to make sure that the formulas are correct, sometimes with Excel things don't always catch right. So if people can double that for me, it'd be great. And then I'm trying to I'll get to clear and I'll make sure everyone has, folks have been getting all of the different budgets as we've been doing them. But I will make sure that everyone has all of them. What I was thinking of probably doing is just trying to put them all into one Adobe Acrobat document, probably alphabetical by department, so people can find me if they have any questions to back up or details.
Heather, have you got a number between revenue and the expenses, the bottom line number, how much we're off?
Not yet. I tried to do it earlier today, but I didn't have the police number in yet.
Okay.
So it's still going to be a little bit. I don't think it'll be as bad. As you see, the dispatch came in lower for level funding, the Quabbin Regional. That will help significantly. So, but I will get that back to you. The one thing I'm supposed to communicate tonight, I did talk to Greg this evening. He wanted me to reiterate that he believes that we should increase the amount of revenues that we're projecting for the town. Does not believe they're going to be as low as projected. So I said I would communicate.
Now go over that again.
Yeah, I couldn't hear what you were saying.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay. I had a conversation with Greg. He asked me to communicate to the FinCom that it's still his thought that our revenues are not going to be as bad off as we have predicted them to be. So he asked me to communicate that to you.
Okay.
He thinks they should be higher?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's good if that happened.
Are there any facts?
I'm always
Just hope.
trying to keep it down, and then when you get the good, and not overestimate. That's how I work. I try not to over. But I've been working on that, the old one that we used to use, putting in some numbers. I started that today, Heather, to see what that bottom
Okay.
comes out. Okay, now, Heather, the FY19 audit.
Oh, yes. I totally forgot about that. It's like there's something else exciting this evening.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of reading to do.
Looks great.
So,
You get yours, Mark?
so we do have hard
You
copies.
get your audit?
No, Yeah, I do have it actually. I do.
We do
I
have,
printed mine off, Heather.
okay. We do have hard copies at the office. This still says draft because that's what I had. There was no real changes.
Yeah.
We respond to a couple things. So most of us, generally speaking, when we're looking at towns, we generally, unless you're a Jean or a Sharon, the rest of us jump into the management letter. That kind of gives us an idea of what's outstanding for problems. Where do we have opportunities to make adjustments? So they talk about current comments and continuing one. This is more just to provide you guys your view of what we have here. Jean or Sharon, do one of you want to just jump in and explain what it means by reciprocal reconciliations and write-offs?
I can because Jean does all the talking, which I appreciate, but I need to step up for her, so I'll do that. So the write-offs, what the auditor is suggesting is that these are old bills that at this point we should just take off the books because it looks like we're still trying to collect those. They, for the most part, probably will not be collected. So they're suggesting take it off so it doesn't look like we have outstanding balances still. If the people come forward and pay the bill, of course we can still accept the money, but it won't be lingering out there as an outstanding balance. So it'll reflect better on our books as well. That sound correct, Jean? Yep, perfect. Thank you. So we're looking to do that with motor vehicle and also personal property. We want to get a handle on that as well. And I've talked to the assessors about both and with Jean. And so after things settle down a little bit going into FY21, we'll start looking at those little projects.
All right, so any questions on that section?
Nope, it was good.
Okay. Jean, Chapter 9 reimbursement. Want to cover that one?
Yes, please.
Well, we put in another request for reimbursement for about 551,000. So I don't know, Sharon, have you heard anything about where we stand on getting that?
So I have reached out to Daryl. He is our point of contact. That's who Jason submits his paperwork to. He did confirm that it was submitted. That might have been a couple weeks back now. I haven't reached out to Daryl again, but I can do that before we meet again and just see where we are in the process. I'm thinking we should get it in time, but I'd like to see it before I say anything for sure.
So this comment here is simply when the auditors took a look, they looked at the fact that we had Chapter 90 program projects that we had completed, but we hadn't been refunded for yet. So that just details out the FY19 and FY20 funding pieces over there. The next section down here, we have water and sewer commitments. So the auditors just picked up on the fact that they expressed concern that water and sewer commitments that had not received signatures and were not dated yet for some of the water and sewer commitments. Generally speaking, what's supposed to happen is when those commitments go out, the practice has been that they're signed by the water commission or the sewer commission, saying that yes, we are bound to collect this bill amount of money from people. We sign here. So that was their comment on that.
Heather, one question.
Yes.
Who is responsible for checking out, making sure these things actually happen?
So it's a great question, Brian.
Yeah.
The general answer when something's happening or not happening, the answer is who's the oversight of that department. The water and sewer departments are overseen each independently by the elected water commission and the elected board.
So if it's not happening, I guess we'd have to, go to their meeting and see why not.
That's probably what, don't want to bucket.
Can't hear you, Heather.
No audio.
Oh, I'm not talking, I'm making internal sound. I'm talking to my head, not,
No wonder we couldn't hear.
well, that and my cats were mauling each other, so I was a little mentally distracted. All right. Brian, I don't have anything further for that. I mean, unfortunately, that's just the way it's currently set up. So I have zero authority on that. I can add, but.
Great.
All right, board and committee.
Can we,
What's that, Ted?
can we send them a report? Maybe they'll read it.
Yeah, maybe.
We will. We can send this. Well, I was hoping once you guys review this, that we can put this on the next select board's meeting in 2 weeks, so that they're aware and cognizant of these issues. The next one they have here is board and committee minutes. So they're talking in this case about making sure that they're checking for minutes, and they found that it was hard to find some minutes. I do recall having a conversation with Ellen. Some minutes are filed with them directly, not everything comes from government. So the next direction is really to work with everyone to try to get things up on my town government, so that everything's available and easily accessible for people. And then the last piece here is the payroll warrants. Sharon, did you want to touch this one?
I can, but bear with me. I need to walk away from my dog because she wants to talk about it too.
And what is her opinion?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, she's very opinionated. So what the auditors are referring to here is that we've processed payroll, and after the fact, the Board of Selectmen are signing off on the payroll warrant. What they would like to see is the payroll warrant be compiled, and then the Board of Selectmen sign off on it prior to us hitting go with the payroll company. It's possible, but we would definitely have to change our processes in-house, which can be done, but it would have to be a joint effort.
All right. So let's see. Then we have some continuing comments and some things that are outstanding. Cash account reconciliations. Karen or Dean, do you want to touch this one?
Yeah, we've been working on that really hard, and we're getting there. Moved away from part of our software now to something that we think we're both going to be able to use much easier, and see where we both are on the cash balances. So it's a work in progress, but we're making a lot of headway. So.
Excellent. All right, so then we have fraud risk assessment. So pretty much every audit in the state of Massachusetts a couple years ago started having this one come out. They want you to, especially with the number of folks who've been in trouble or convicted of funds going missing and so forth, they really want towns to take a look internally at their operations, their policies, and even do kind of a quasi-investigation with the department, make sure everyone's aware of how to report fraud, any suspected fraud, and also make sure that everything is taken a look at to see if there's any easier opportunities that would present themselves. That should be looked at, changing of processes to be better, more protecting of the town. There are grants out there, usually the community compact grant. I've worked with in the past to have an outside consultant come in and do the assessment. And there's also community compact on the state website. There's actually the finalized reports for these as well that actually include all the assessment questions. So folks could easily do an internal fraud risk assessment that would be compliant with this. And remove this comment moving forward.
Heather, that sounds like a nice job for the new town administrator.
Oh, it does. It does. I added on my report. I might even attach the link to the one I did. Just did for ease. Accrued compensated absences. Sharon?
So we have been working with our payroll company prior to my coming here. That was something that was tracked in payroll, but tracked on spreadsheets, and so we've compiled it so that payroll tracks it for us, and I feel like we have a better handle on what's going on with accumulated sick and vacation time. And I think that's what they're referring to here. It's just that we have a better understanding of it, and then because of that, we are now able to see we have a more specific dollar amount attached to. If everybody cashed out at the same time, it would cost us X amount of dollars.
Great.
Next one's me too. Unclaimed checks. So there were some tailings hanging out in old vendor accounts. So I've closed those now, and I have new bank accounts for the town. So we'll be working on getting rid of those old tailings. Again, we had hoped to do that in FY20. Everything exploded, and that got put back on the back burner. So that is on our one of our projects for FY21 when things calm down a little bit. Just clear up those tailings, and it's easier, obviously, to balance the accounts when you know exactly what's going on there. So we have all new accounts that are easily balanced, and the tailings will be taken care of when things settle down a little bit.
Timely deposit of departmental collection.
Oh, me again. So this we've been hitting pretty hard since I came here. The policies in the town are that all departments should turn over money weekly. Most departments do. I sent out nagging, happy little emails. Hey, remember to bring us your money every week, and that seems to work for most departments. We have a couple that lag behind a little, but everybody is making improvements. So I feel like we've made progress there. I wouldn't mind seeing a little more progress, but we're definitely better than we were.
Great.
The withholding accounts, they show that we've resolved that. That's balancing between Jean's office and my office of what's withheld for all the payrolls, and that we've worked on.
All right, any takers on capital asset accounting?
Yeah, I'll do it. It's, we got software to do this. It's the fixed assets of the town. Right now, the auditors have spreadsheets with all of our assets on it. We want to be able to do it in-house and be more current on it. So we would be able to enter in everything that we bought, big purchases over every year. And so we would continually update it and whatnot and have it all in-house. We did get software for this, but of course, COVID happened. And so we haven't gotten there, but we do have the software, and we will be trying to get that done. And I have Kelly, who's my assistant too, comes and does it for. She's probably going to be helping with this too. So we'll get it done, but we're going to have to wait.
Progress. That's good. Progress is good.
And that is all we have for comments.
So there's some standard formats, Heather, for risk assessment we use in business. It can be a very valuable tool. If you like any information on it, feel free to get a hold of me outside of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Will do, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, our next meetings are the June 11th. Year-end transfers and then the updates on the other stuff and any updating news if we've got any more numbers that look good. And then on June 18th, we're going to meet with Robin again. See if they've gotten any updates or anything new on what they're going to do. And then we have the June 25th, the budget hearing. Heather, how will we hold that? Will we hold it like a Zoom meeting?
Well, I wasn't here for last year, so I'm not sure how you held it, but I'm
We
guessing,
went down to the senior center.
okay, did you have people show up?
Not many.
Maybe two or three.
Right, Mark? Not many.
I think we have 3 or 4.
Some of the department heads did, you know.
Well, you know, the 3 or 4 people, we can invite them so they can tune in directly. What I would say is if you expect a decent crowd, we could probably do the meeting on Zoom. Probably want to do it more like we do the select board meeting as a webinar. So, you know,
Yeah,
presentation piece and you can allow folks in the participant box to talk. But that way they don't have free for all. I mean, it's up to the FinCom how they want to do it. I usually like to do that with larger groups of people, just it allows more control.
Yeah.
Going on, and it also, I mean, if we're thinking about doing, you know, a basic presentation of the budget and the details on it and so forth, that gives us the opportunity to do it.
we normally hand out the draft booklet like the warrant is.
So what we can probably do, Claire, is we can make sure it's available on My Town Government with the agenda so people can print it out.
Okay, yeah.
So that they can have a copy of it. I mean, we could, I'd say we'd best off doing that. And then if they really needed a copy and they couldn't print it themselves, they could call Sandy and sure she'll print them a copy.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I think that'll work okay. I would just need to, do you know if last year's was taped? I'll see if last year's was recorded. If it was,
I don't think so.
So,
Ted, do you think it was? No, no.
okay.
Well, we had a big turnout last year because we had all the marijuana issues going on.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, we must have had 7 or 8 people there last year.
Now this year, you might get a whole bunch because they have nothing else to do.
Zoom is easier for people to tune into than showing up to the meeting.
Yes.
It wasn't taped last year. Down at the senior center.
Yeah, it was with the marijuana things. Yeah,
We
all
had,
the bylaws and everything.
who did it? How was it taped?
Oh, I don't think it was taped, Sandy. That's what they were saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I need someone else to reenact it for me so that I can observe. Any takers?
I don't think there was too much to. Well, I guess that's it unless anybody else has got anything else they want to bring up.
Oh, good, Claire.
Good.
Okay.
Well, I think we're all set.
Motion
Somebody,
adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
okay. Second? Anybody?
Okay, second.
Okay, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
All right, good night, everybody.
Right.